Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today, as I'm sure you can tell by the title, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different than normal. So if you spend any time on TikTok and you're into makeup, I'm sure you've come across some of those you might be doing your makeup the wrong way type deals. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing today. I think what I'm going to do, this half of my face how I normally would do my makeup, and then I'm going to do this half of my face using these new little tips. So let's go ahead and get into this video. So to start, apparently you're not supposed to have to use a primer. I don't know how I feel about this little hack tip thing because the last time I forgot to wear a primer, my makeup looked horrible. Could have just been circumstances, I don't know, but I'm gonna wear primer on half my face today and the other half I'm gonna go without it. Don't just skip out on primer though. The only way you can skip the primer completely is if you do a full intense moisturizing regimen beforehand, which I did. I applied an oil, a moisturizer, all that kind of stuff, tone my face, everything. And I did that beforehand before I sat down to film because you want to let that little concoction sit for about 15 minutes before you apply your makeup over top of it. So my stuff has been sitting on my face for quite a while now and it is good and ready for makeup. So I'm going to pop this e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer just onto this side of my face. I'm not really sure how this whole splitting my face in half thing is going to turn out for some of the things. I might end up having to completely take over my nose later, but you'll see what I mean when we get there. There's always cat hair on my face. Oh, already messed up. Okay, well, I guess that we're not gonna skip the primer. Alright, well, we're just gonna skip that whole step. I'm just gonna go ahead and prime my face anyways. Alright, we're priming the whole thing, whatever. I don't really think I could give up primer anyways. It's fine. So the next step is going to be to add setting spray to my face. We're gonna be using setting spray 3 times today. And I'm using the Ciate London Everyday Vacay Setting Spray. So the only little foundation tip I found was a way to make a sheer to medium coverage foundation full coverage. So that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Paris Infallible Pro Glow in the shade 201. And then I'm going to mix the tiniest amount of translucent setting powder into that foundation on my hand. And I'm just going to try to very lightly tap some of this powder into it. Trying so very hard not to get too much. I don't really want to just go in with my finger, but I think that's what I'm gonna do to mix it all up. All right, let's see if that makes it any more full coverage. So obviously I'm just gonna apply this to my whole face because I got plenty here, and yeah, eventually we'll get to the half and half thing. Okay, I cannot tell if this is more full coverage. I really can't tell. Maybe the tiniest amount. It might be slightly more full coverage. I don't know how well this little hack worked. It definitely did not take away from the dewiness of this foundation, so that is good. I don't really think that did a whole lot. Maybe I didn't add enough powder. Yeah, I still have some redness coming through. I don't think that did anything. Maybe, like I said, I didn't add enough powder. I don't know. So far, we are 0 for 1. Alright, the next little hack I have is for concealer, and I'm sure... Okay, so for concealer, I'm going to go in... This is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Instant Fix Concealer. I'm going to go in with the Hydra Prep side, and I'm just going to apply that to my under eyes on both sides. And then for this side, I'm going to go in with concealer just right here, and then on the side of my nose, and then also the outer edge of my eye. And in this eye, I'm gonna just go in like I normally would and add concealer under my eye. So this eye, we're gonna let it sit for a few minutes to let that kind of do its thing, so that way we can get it to be a little bit more for full coverage, because that's another one of these little tips. I already knew that, but so yeah, in case you didn't know, if you have a concealer that you want to be more full coverage, it needs to be a hydrating concealer, but you can go ahead and apply it, let it sit for approximately 5 minutes, spots. And then when you go to blend it out, it is going to be way more full coverage than when you started. And I will show you that with this. This eye I'm just going to go in and blend, and this eye we're going to let sit for a little while. So while we let that sit, I'm going to move on to eyebrows. I'm going to use the NYX Dip Shape Go in the shade Black. And for this eye, I'm just going to follow the shape of my natural eyebrow. This is really hard because I have not done my brows like this in a really long time, because this is something I gave up doing a while ago. And just gonna fill in the tail of the brow. So this is pretty much how I used to do my brows. This dramatic, it's been a while, but pretty much how I used to do them. So for this eye, I'm going to, as you can see, I now shave off the tails of my brows. And so on this eye, instead of going down with the arch like I did over here, I'm going to follow the new shape I have carved out from my brow. And instead of bringing that arch around, I'm going to keep it lifted. And I'm going to keep the tail of the brow no lower than where the front of my brow is. Does that make sense? So the tail of my brow is not going to go lower on my face than the inner portion of my brow. Okay, so this is the difference in the brows. Yeah, it's crazy. I know. This is how I used to do my brow. This is way better. I'm quickly going to go in with the NYX Lift and Snatch brow pen. I haven't quite decided how I feel about this yet. It's very pigmented and definitely does a good job at drawing those individual brow strokes, but if I leave the pen like tilted like that for too long, it starts to leak. Nobody wants that. Alright, and now this concealer has been sitting for probably about 5 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and blend that out. Keep in mind, it definitely does make it harder to blend the concealer when it's been sitting for a while, but it's worth it. Alright, so let's just say this eye definitely looks more awake, more lifted, so it's time for our second coat of setting spray. And the 3 doses of setting spray is supposed to help make your makeup last like all day. So if you have an issue with your makeup not lasting a long time, I would definitely recommend trying this. And yes, I am just going ahead with the setting spray over my whole entire face because it'd probably be pretty hard not to spray this side, you know what I mean? So next we're going to talk about powder. If you've ever baked your face, you might know what I'm talking about here, but you know, normally people like to go in with a lot of bake under their eyes. I don't like to bake under my eyes, never been a fan of it. Makes my under eye insanely creasy, but I am fond of baking my nose, my forehead, and my chin. But when I bake, I don't bake like, you know, some people do. Like loads and loads of powder, which is what I'm trying to achieve here, but it's not really working. I'm gonna keep adding powder until it looks, you know, like how most people's bake looks, I guess. There's powder everywhere. How do people do this? Oh my goodness. This side, we're going to go in with this really fluffy, smaller brush, and I'm just going to add a little bit of powder under my eye using this. Okay, yeah, that whole adding powder to my foundation did not work because there's a lot of redness coming through. And then I'm just going to go in with a fluffy brush for the rest of my face on this side. And while we let this bake continue to do its thing, I want to quickly talk about bronzer versus contour. So a contour powder is going to be a more cool tone shade. Your bronzer is going to be warm toned. It might have shimmer in it. Bronzer is meant to give your face a sun-kissed glow. So you're meant to apply bronzer anywhere that the sun would normally touch your face. Contour, on the other hand, is meant to apply shadows, and that is why it is a more cool-toned powder. So it goes in the hollows of your cheekbones, your jawline. Rude. And it can be used to snatch your nose. So, some people like to use contour and bronzer interchangeably. Like, people like to use bronzer for contour. Don't do that. That's not what bronzer is meant for. Just don't do that. Since I already have the side of my face all powdered and everything, I'm just going to go ahead and add my contour like I normally would. And when using contour, you want to use a more dense, more firm, packed brush. I'm just going to take a small amount Oh, I don't know if you can see, but this eye is already getting so creasy, and I haven't even wiped that powder off yet. Honestly, I'm just gonna go ahead and wipe that off now. Try to buff it into the rest of my face because, oh, that does not look good. That does not look good at all. And then I'm going to go in with the contour on this side as well, because this is normally how I would contour my face. And then also I would normally go in with a little bit of powder on the side of my brush for my nose. Like I said, I'm not sure how this is going to work with splitting my nose in half, but we'll see. So for bronzer, I'm going to be using the Butter Bronzer from Physicians Formula. And when it comes to bronzer, you want to use a more loose, fluffy brush. So for bronzer, I usually use one of these two brushes. As you can see, the bristles are a lot looser on both of these than they are on this brush. So normally I would just go in with some bronzer here and bring it in as far as I bring in the contour, and then as well as up here on the forehead. And I normally try to keep the bronzer closer to my hairline. On this side, we're gonna go in all over the forehead pretty much. Once again, really focusing on that temple. And you maybe want to kind of keep in mind that bronzer should be used similarly to a highlight. So we're gonna sweep it along the cheekbone like I would my highlight, and we're gonna keep it further away from that contour. So you want to keep your bronzer out of that contour shadow. And then for the nose, I'm just gonna take the bronzer and go all over this whole entire side of the nose. Now when it comes to blush, you want to kind of follow that same guide as you did with the bronzer, using a more fluffy, looser brush. And there's this rule about blush where apparently you're supposed to smile, put it on the apple of your cheek, but the second you let that smile go, it draws your face down. We don't like this. So for this side of my face, I'm going to keep the blush. I'm going to add it to the temple here, and then I'm only going to bring it about to the edge of my eye. And keep in mind, I'm going very heavy-handed with all of this stuff, just so that way you can really see where I'm applying it. Obviously, you don't have to go this heavy-handed with it, whatever suits your style. And then I'm also going to take a little bit along where that bronzer is, and then on the nose. I like to tie in the blush between the nose and the cheek just a little bit of blending, no additional product there, just to make that all look a little bit more seamless. So now you can either leave your nose like this, or you can go back in with your powder, a little bit to the side and a little down the center. Let that bake for a minute. And then for highlight on this side, a mistake you can make is going in with your highlight. So as you can see, I'm swooping it in, keeping it right on top of that cheekbone. I don't know if the camera is picking it up so well, but I'm hoping you can really see where I applied that highlight there. And then on this side, I'm going to take it more up and down at an angle. And then on this eye, I'm just going to highlight that very inner corner. Looks good, looks bright, right? Then on this eye, I'm going to highlight the inner corner and really focusing it on that tear duct. So I'm really just applying it straight over the tear duct, and then I'm going to bring it about halfway into my eye. And like I said, I don't know how much the camera is picking up, but that really makes a huge difference. And you could even take it a step further by using either a nude pencil or a white pencil and go into the waterline with that. I'm gonna wipe this bake off now. And the nose highlight is really just going to stay the same. I'm going to apply a little bit on the tip of the nose and right down the center. And then same thing with the Cupid's bow. I'm just gonna highlight like I normally would. Now let's talk about eyeliner. So for this eye, I'm going to do a regular wing like you would see every day, which is fine, but if you have hooded eyes like I do, I would not suggest doing your eyeliner like this. So let me just quickly pop this liner on off camera. Alright, so this is fine. Like, it looks fine and everything, but it doesn't really lift my eye at all. So for this eye, I'm gonna draw the initial line like I normally would with eyeliner. I'm going to go along my lid, and I don't know if you can really see this, but I gradually quit with the eyeliner. So with this eye, I took it all the way in to the center. This eye, I quit with it about right there. And then I'm going to attach this wing to my hooded eye. So right where that crease is, I'm going to pull the eyeliner into there. So now I'm left with that shape. And then I'm going to open my eye, connect the line to that bottom line that we just drew, and then I'm going to fill it all in. So this is known as the bat liner technique. Normally, oh my, yeah, I definitely should have gone up higher with that because that does not look good, but it looks better than this eye. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to pop on some lashes and lips. Okay, so lashes are on, and I was going to do my lips, and then I realized I do kind of have a little tip for you. Okay, so how I used to apply my lipstick, my lip liner, because you always want to start with a lip liner. So I would just really follow the natural shape of my lip and slightly overline it. And then I would bring it all the way down, repeat on the bottom. But now what I like to do, so as you can see, I would definitely leave that little cupid's bow going on. But now I like to go right over the cupid's bow, still sticking with the overlining. And this side of my lips is a little bit longer, so I like to cut it off just to make them look more symmetrical. And go over the outer edge with just whatever leftover product is on my sponge to cover up the little bit of lip that I leave out over there. And then add a little bit of contouring and finish it off with a lip gloss. This is the Persona lip gloss in the shade Honey. So this is the difference in my face versus, I don't want to say the wrong way and the right way to do your makeup, because there is no right way and wrong way to makeup. That's the beauty of makeup. You can do it however and whatever way you can feel like it. You can use whatever products you feel like using for whatever thing you feel like using them for. If you want to use a concealer as a lipstick, go ahead and use your concealer as a lipstick. I don't recommend it, but you can do it if you want to. I personally think this side looks a lot better than this side. This brow is really bothering me. This blush is really bothering me. But if you like to do your makeup like this, absolutely keep doing your makeup like this. This side just looks a little bit more lifted, a little bit more, just a little bit better, in my opinion. Let me know in the comments which side you think turned out better, the left or the right, although it might be reversed for you. We're gonna say this is the left side because this is the left side of my face and this is the right side. So let me know in the comments which side you like better. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Definitely also let me know in the comments what other types of videos you would like to see like this. I actually had a lot of fun making this video, and I just remembered we gotta do our third mist of setting spray. Alright, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!